Trenton Mark.
Between 4500 and 3500 BC, ancient Mesopotamia, known as the cradle of civilization, became a powerhouse of technological advancement, inventions, agriculture, and trade. Over centuries, Mesopotamia evolved from small mud huts to circular houses and small communities, from their highly productive farmland to monumental architecture. With the first major invention being a system of ditches controlling flooding in the region, it eventually led to the creation of the first irrigation system. As the people of Sumer, known as the Sumerians, became great at growing food, they started to have enough resources left over to focus on building cities and temples. Sumer, being the earliest known advanced region in Mesopotamia, increased in complexity and sophistication. It is believed that around 2800 BC, their city-state was likely to be the largest in the world. At its peak, the city is said to have had a population between 40,000 and 80,000. Starting from the exponential growth of Sumer, ancient Mesopotamia became home to some of the most influential civilizations in history: the Akkadians, the Babylonians, and the Assyrians. These are established civilizations within Mesopotamia who became the most powerful and influential empires and kingdoms the world had ever seen. Sargon of Akkad formed the first united empire of Mesopotamia, where the city-states of Sumer were united under one ruler. Known by historians as the Akkadian Empire, many historians believe it is the first empire in the world. Its leader Sargon is said to have been abandoned as a child. While there are variations of Sargon's early life, it is said that his mother hid her pregnancy and the birth of Sargon, and then secretly placing him in a basket, which she then set adrift on the Euphrates River. As an orphan baby, he was rescued and then raised by a man named Aki, a gardener for Ur-Zababa, the king of Sumerian city of Kish, which at the time was one of the many city-states in Mesopotamia. Sargon started as a cupbearer to the king of Kish, located in modern-day south-central Iraq. From there, he became involved in politics. Sargon eventually became a trusted, close advisor to the king, allowing him to accumulate power and influence. Over time, he worked his way up to power, conquering various city-states one by one. He later went on to conquering southern Mesopotamia and leading military expeditions to conquer further east and north. Under his power, he conquered all of the Sumerian city-states and united the northern and southern region of Mesopotamia, becoming their single authority ruler. The Akkadian Empire consists of modern-day Iraq, Kuwait, northeast Syria, and southeast Turkey. Over time, they grew into Egypt, areas of India, and Ethiopia. King Sargon then assumed the title of king and appointed his trusted followers as governors. Being a brilliant strategist, he realized that in order to maintain this vast territory, a systematic administration needed to be created. King Sargon then strategically allocated his most trusted followers to positions of power, wherein they oversaw the organization of over 65 cities. After a reign of over 50 years, Sargon was succeeded by his son Rimush. Over the next 200 years, the Akkadian Empire continued to expand, stretching from the Persian Gulf to the Mediterranean Sea. From warfare attacked from neighboring rulers, the empire and cornering structure grew weaker and was eventually conquered by the Amorites. The most powerful and known Amorite king was known to be Hammurabi, who established the next great empire within Mesopotamia. Babylon is mentioned countless amount of times in biblical texts and was regarded as the place that grew rich from excessive luxuries. This very same city of Babylon was a city-state in Mesopotamia for many years. After the fall of the Akkadian Empire, the city was taken over and settled by the Amorites. The city of Babylon rose to prominence beginning in approximately 1790 BC, when King Hammurabi took the throne. Under the ruling power and leadership of Amorite King Hammurabi, Babylon, which was the largest city at the time, became one of the most powerful cities of ancient Mesopotamia's history. What was impressive about King Hammurabi was that within a few short years, he had conquered all of Mesopotamia, bringing all city-states under one unified Babylonian ruling, creating the Babylonian Empire. He was the first ruler to successfully govern all of Mesopotamia. In Babylonian, which at the time was a form of Akkadian language, the word Babylon is divided into two separate words, Babi-Ilu, which means the gate of the gods. It was named the gate of the gods because the kings during this period believed it to be the place where gods communicated with people in order to direct their lives on earth. Although King Hammurabi had many achievements, he is famously known to have established firm laws that were called Hammurabi's Code, etched into clay tablets, and tall pillars of stone called steles, known as Stele Hammurabi. This was the first time in history that the law was written down and recorded. At its peak, the city of Babylon is believed to have been the largest city in the world, with a population of approximately 200,000 people. In approximately 1595 BC, the Kassites conquered Babylon. They would then rule for approximately 400 years and would then be ruled by the Assyrians. It wasn't until approximately 612 BC that Babylonia once again rose to power as the ruler of the empire over Mesopotamia. This second Babylonian empire is called the Neo-Babylonian Empire. Adad-nirari II is believed to be the first king of Assyria in the Neo-Assyrian Empire. He established absolute control, power, and governance with an exceptional political structure. What also set this empire apart from the other before it was that during this period of reign they were believed to have had the strongest military power in the world. Because of their technological advances in warfare and well-organized government structure, they were the first empire during this period to be armed with iron weapons. Adad-nirari II led the empire with a strong foundation in warfare tactics in battle to conquer many cities, to which made the empire merely untouchable. Their tactics were to inspire fear into their enemies, to deter potential rebellions. Their warfare tactics and political structure became the model for many other empires that succeeded it. Northern Iraq became the largest and most powerful empire of its time. At its height, the Assyrian state stretched from the northwest region of Mesopotamia and eastward to the Persian Gulf and western Iran. This would include Egypt as well as parts of Anatolia, Arabia, modern-day Iran, and Armenia. The success of the Neo-Assyrian Empire was largely due to their reputation in military power and strategies, coupled with their effectiveness at efficiently incorporating conquered lands into the administrative system. But their strength became their weakness. While the empire had an abundance of serving governors, delegates, and top officials entrusted by the king, the empire ultimately became too large to control. The empire eventually fell after the conquest of the Assyrian capital Nineveh by the coalition of the Babylonian and Median invaders in 612 BC. The Achaemenid Persian Empire emerged under the ruling leadership of Cyrus II, who conquered the neighboring Median Empire ruled by his grandfather. While very little is known about Cyrus's history growing up, except that he was part of the Achaemenid royal family through either birth or marriage. It is believed that as a young boy he raised sheep, goats, and cattle in the southwest of present-day Iran. From humble beginnings as a sheep herder, Cyrus progressed, ascending the throne of his father King Cambyses in 558 BC. From then on he was called the Shah, or King, of Persia. Eventually he was known as Cyrus the Great. Shortly after becoming king, he rose in rebellion against the Median Empire, conquering the Medes to create the First Persian Empire, also known as the Achaemenid Empire. With his strong knowledge of technical approach with governing conquered lands and territories, through his leadership he assimilates the neighboring Lydian and Neo-Babylonian Empire into the new Persian Empire. During its reign, the Achaemenid Persian Empire was the largest that the ancient world had seen, extended from the Anatolia, which is now known as Turkey, and Egypt, across from Western Asia to northern India and Central Asia. Its formation started from the Mesopotamian region known as modern-day Iran. The Persian Empire lasted for approximately 200 years. The empire began to decline under the reign of King Xerxes. This region was eventually conquered by Alexander the Great. By 331 BC, most of the great cities of Mesopotamia no longer existed. The history of Mesopotamia empires and civilization, being one of the greatest and most advanced in the world, eventually collapsed, and is said to be attributed to major population problems, war, contaminated water systems, and significant changes in the environment. Constant invasions, infighting warfare, instability of authority and power impacted each city-states. The disastrous dust storms resulted in lack of ability to grow crops. Settlers over time abandoned their settlements, which is said to have caused an abrupt collapse of civilization. The fall of the last Sumerian dynasty and the end to the Babylonian Empire was the final blow to the downfall of Mesopotamia.